Alright, so this is just a brief demo of using RapidTable's XYZ scatterplot maker to create a scatterplot. You can use other software, but I think this one works well. I'm first going to create the title, and in using or creating the title, I'm going to use both columns of my table of values. So the graph title is wind speed, and I'm going to use title case wind speed and wind chill values for air temperature of, and let's make sure that's spelled correctly. So it's important that the title is very descriptive, because I should look at the title and know exactly what the graph is all about. I'm just going to correct that. Good. So wind speed and wind chill title, wind chill values for air temperature of negative 10 degrees Celsius. So we're only going to be doing one data series, one table of values. So each of these series represents a table of values, and you can put multiple table of values on one graph. We are going to use a trend line just to see what the trend is. And what you notice is that you are going to put, in this case, x1 would be the first row. x1 and x2 would be the first row, and x1 would represent, again, always the left side is the x value, or we can call it the independent variable, and in the right column, which would be the y value, is the dependent variable. So this will be our y value. And what you have to be careful is that you can only use one space between the x and y value and one space between each row. So let me give you an example. So if I were to, and you don't have to put the brackets as they have here, I'm going to put 5, which is the first row, and it's in the x-axis, or the x value, and I'm going to put a space and negative 13. So I'm going to just draw it to make sure that it looks right. And so you can see that the x, or horizontal axis, and I'm going to label that the horizontal axis is wind speed. And I'm going to put in brackets in kilometers. We need to always put the units. And then the vertical axis is going to be wind chill. And we'll put it, this is in degrees Celsius. Of course, your horizontal and vertical descriptors will be different based on the graph you're putting together. So I'm just going to draw it again to make sure that it looks good. So wind speed, that looks good, and then I'm noticing that wind chill. So the first point is here, and you can see it's 5 and negative 13, or negative 13, which would be the x and y value. So I'm going to come back and make sure that I'm just right beside it, because if you do 2 spaces, it will mess up your scatter plot. So 1 space only, then 10, 1 space only, negative 15, I'm doing the second row, 1 space only, and then 15. So always just 1 space only, and let's go to the next one, 1 space, and negative 18. I'm going to do this very quickly, so I'm doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th row, 25, and I'm going to make sure that it's only 1 space, negative 19, 1 space, next row, 30, negative 20, and the wind speed is 35, and the wind chill is negative 20, wind speed is 40, 1 space, negative 21, 45, 1 space, negative 21, 1 space 50, 1 space negative 22, and I'm just going to check to make sure that it looks good. Yeah, that looks good, and it's always good to just double check after you do a couple of rows to make sure that you have only put 1 space between each row. So let me start, final second to last row, 55, then 1 space, negative 22, 1 space 60, and then negative 23. So I do believe I have all of the data points. I can specify a minimum maximum value, but I won't do that yet. So that's good, and that looks good. So I can see the series 60, 23, 55, which is the second to last row, and so on. That looks very good. Okay, good. So I have drawn it, and I've got my labels. Do I need a minimum maximum value? Well, we could change, for example, if I wanted the horizontal, I could put a maximum value of 65, and the minimum of 0 is good, and redraw, and you can see that it looks a bit different. So I'm going to just say 60. Let's do that. And yeah, that looks better. So I've created my scatter plot, and what you can do is you can copy the scatter plot, and you can then put it into, let's see if that will work. You should be able to, so to copy the scatter plot, press the print button, and then you can right click the image, copy the image, and I'm going to paste it in, and there you go, there's my scatter plot. So this image opens up in a new tab, and I'm just going to go back, and you can see here. So again, to copy, if you do this, it will give you a message saying, please press the print button and right click on the graph to copy. So I'm just going to press the print button. Yours might be different, and then I'm going to right click. You could save the image, but a good copy, you can just simply copy the image and place it in your Google Doc. All right, so that looks good. And so that's simply a quick tutorial. I've got my trend line, I've got my labels, wind chill is on the vertical axis, wind speed on the horizontal axis, so X and Y, and everything looks good. I have my title, and so that's just a quick primer on using the rapid table scatter plot to create a scatter plot.